Так. Надо сейчас попробовать сделать концовку с ведром. Да. Звук, блядь.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Внутренняя дилемма. Похуй.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Не, я пишу свою историю.
Oh, good Stanley, I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Ну, а концовка?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very
Что
much.
это, блядь?
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
А может не надо? Не это охуеть.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Не, я пока что еще не избавился от мозгов.
I
так
think
что
it'll
не
make a
буду
wonderful
избавляться
new
от
addition
этого.
to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
А можно я вместе
Go
с ним
ahead
пойду?
now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Блять, флешка. О, мы в раю. Ура. Ну, главное, что не было.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
А, я не сдох, жалко. Блять. А, он перезагрузил путь. Ну да, конечно. Так. Ну, я хочу сломать
All of
игру.
his co-workers
Еще
were
один
gone.
раз.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley
Пусти,
looked,
блядь.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ура.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Не, меня бесит то, что оно не черное. Так. Над этим надо думать. Я все равно нихуя не произойдет.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh,
Не, на
now
самом деле
think
похуй.
about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever.
Блять, я ебал, он заебал. Я пошел за ведром. Ничего не знаю.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Я не долбоёб. Я туда не пойду.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Сейчас нужно
Stanley clutched
разблокировать
the bucket
самую
tightly to his
концовку.
chest and entered the door on his
В всех
left.
планах. Самый шедевральнейший просто.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping in.
Вот хуй тебе. Наконец-то он заткнулся. Самый интересный момент этой концовки. Очень красивая лестница. Так, все, ведру исполнилось 18 лет, мы его сдаем нахуй. Живи своей жизнью. Да. Стенли, конечно, ёбнутый. Но мы его все равно любим. Нет. Magic.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Опа. Опа. А ведро съебалось. Так, сейчас мы ему докажем то, что
When
это
Stanley
игра
came to a
говно.
set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Нет, иди нахуй.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
По факту.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you,
Если
to
меня
show you
чуть-чуть
something
убедить,
beautiful.
меня пытаются
Look,
наебать.
let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Нет.
Give me a chance.
Нет.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked
Нет.
through the red door.
Нет. Нет.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
Нет.
Stanley walked through the red door.
I still don't think we're communicating
Нет.
properly. Stanley walked... All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to
Да
find
фу.
out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Блять, какая
You see?
охуенная
There's
пустота.
nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see.
Я хочу
Help me here,
Майнкрафт.
Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable
уже
desires
сюжету
of
нахуй
yours.
нужно.
What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely
хочу
nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option.
Так, я тебе
This
объясню
already
сейчас то,
feels
что
leaps
ставить
ahead
на
of where we
говно.
were before. Good. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say
Объективное
that the game
мнение.
benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Ну, игра буквально говно. Живи с
A
этим.
1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's
Yeah,
not
they
even
deserve
helpful.
it.
What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Угу. 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 Но автор добавил хуйню.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to
надо
keep walking
подумать.
through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Так, это тяжелый вопрос. И от меня просят конструктивной критики. Говно.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
О,
In this
горящие
game,
дети.
the baby crawls
хорошо.
left towards danger.
Я 4
You
часа в
click
это
the
говно
button to
играть не
move him
буду.
back to the
Извините.
right, and if he reaches the fire, you
Опа.
fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands
Извините.
of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
Я не
But of
против.
course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard.
Я не
Did you do
долбоёб
it because you hate
сочувствовать,
babies or
скоту.
purely to spite me?
Yeah.
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me.
Чё не горит?
I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out. I'm done.
Чё не
It's
горит?
over. Thank you for playing. Your input was
Если ты
extremely
ещё
valuable.
заткнулся.
Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game?
игра шедевр.
Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
Хуёво поешь.
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Файл.
Ah, fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total
год?
mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game,
99-й.
Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
89. Я никуда не пойду. Я нашел себе собеседника. Вот он. Меня все устраивает. Он долго формулирует мысли. Да. Ой, рисовал какую-то хуйню по лайфхакам из ТикТока. Так, что тут еще есть? Старый добрый ковер. Хуя мне отсюда уходить? Тут очень хорошо. Ох. Прекрасно. Замечательно. Газовый баллон. Я всегда издавал кликающие звуки. Надо у мамы спросить.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
О, открытый мир.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
Ах ты
You really wandered off into
мудак.
that thing.
Ты
That big
ущемился с
open,
открытого
just
мира.
wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay,
да,
I
я
think
же
this will be just the thing.
О, Rocket League.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Я тебе больше скажу, я тут не заблужусь, я тут
Okay, so what
сдохну.
exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Большая дыра. Выбор очевиден.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Ага. Зато не в кредит, знаете ли. Да? И шумных соседей нету. Правда, да. На фотках на Авито это выглядело как особняк. В принципе, доля правды в этом есть. Это недостроенный особняк. Ага. Угу. В какой-то жопе. Мгм. Так, а теперь у меня вопрос. А, а куда? Типа все, да? Все, игра закончилась. Все? А. Угу. Жалко, у меня нет рук и ног, чтобы набить ебало рассказчику. Да. Ладно. Джеронимо. А, ебать. Мне не говорили то, что... Ебать. А вот это уже вполне особняк. Угу. Я бы тут жил. Смысл этой игры, ну, типа, сюжет, типа, много концовок. Очень много концовок. Охуеть много концовок. Да. Но еще смысл игры там ведро. Да.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close,
Ну,
then I'll be
рассказчик
back.
заебал уже.
The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Ну, жди. Продолжаем. Так, какую концовку сделать?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
По-моему, была концовка с кладовкой.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ой, Михаил Оскара. Понятно. Так, ты какого ху... О, отлично, все.
Stanley
Моя
stepped into the
любимая
broom
концовка.
closet,
С
but there was
кладовкой.
nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Кладовка, сука. Какое же охуенное место.
There was nothing here, no choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Швабра.
It was baffling that Stanley was
О,
still just sitting in
кстати.
the broom closet. He wasn't even
Привет,
doing
Злата.
anything. At least if there was something to interact with,
Как
he'd be
дела?
justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing
Ну,
there
Злате заебись.
doing sweet FA.
Так. Опа. Медь.
Are you really still in the broom
Надо
closet?
продать.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Не, кладовка это хорошо. Ты не понимаешь.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out.
Я
But it
просто
didn't even
человек.
occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Не.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite."
У меня нет
I hope
друзей.
your friends find this concerning.
Но если бы были, они бы
Stanley
были.
was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Факты. Не, а что ты говоришь факты? Я не спорю.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Да,
You got to
правильно.
this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave
Yeah.
because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard.
Правильно.
Well, in
So
a
that could be
situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it
Yeah.
begins to decompose.
Согласен.
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Я же не добил. Я буду сидеть тут. Меня кладовка устраивает. Интересно. Я понял, в чем тут развязка.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to.
Да,
A
чё-
fish?
Да.
Fungus? Look,
Да.
you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky.
Да.
I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
А, не, все, диалог, все. Э. Ну, пиздец.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ладно.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an
Yeah.
indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Не буду это комментировать.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked
Yeah,
forward
печку куда?
into the opened passageway.
Я не хочу. Блядь. Мы в дерьме.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Мед, контрол, фасити. Понятно. Чё пялишь? Это битый пиксель на мониторе? А, нет. Ладно. Так. Блядь, сейчас будет ярко.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Охуенная защита, конечно.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building,
моя хата.
Stanley's co-workers. The
Моя.
lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Жалко ведра нету. Вот ведро вот. Эх.
This
Тоска по ведру.
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert...
Вызывайте электрика.
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Наш
Was it
говорил.
over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet,
Оно зависнет.
even as the immense
Обязательно
door
зависнет.
slowly opened, Stanley
100%.
reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where
Витамин.
had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries
Нет,
did this
конечно, не
strange
зависит.
building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized
свет.
none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his.
Стэнли
That was
настолько
all
беспомощный,
he
то, что
needed to
вместо него
It
его
was
же
perhaps
эмоции описывают
the only
искающий.
thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Опа, я эту карту
Stanley
видел
felt
в
the cool
Unity.
breeze upon his
Отстой.
skin, the feeling of liberation,
Ай-яй-яй.
the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Да. Почему-то я несчастлив, а Стэнли счастлив. Супер. Почему ему везет, а мне нет, а? О, пиздец. А, бля.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Здравствуй.
Ah,
Все.
the embrace of an old friend.
А
A
какого хрена ты
weathered
тут делаешь?
companionship that stands the test of time.
Пошли в кладовку. Мне интересно, что скажет на... Я этого не помню. Так, сейчас будет что-то новое.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Так, нужно мне еще найти 4 этих додика. Так. Естественно. Большое спасибо, до свидания.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Я бы ведро выебал на самом деле. А, все?
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Бот.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Так, я там Михаила Оскара уже находил. Перезапускаем. Так. По-моему, свидрайт наклейка исчезнет вскоре. Ну. Так, где еще могут быть Михаил Оскар? Так. Угу. Понятно. Опа, я вспомнил, где может быть еще одна статуэтка. Так, она, по-моему, в неправильной концовке должна быть. Так, сейчас я... Блядь, надо ведро взять.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. the bucket was wrong.
Не, ведро никогда не
Stanley
ошибается.
took the door on his left to go
Мне
back
кажется,
to the
рассказчику
meeting
нужно
room.
задуматься. Ведро умнее, чем он, блядь.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere
Хера себе,
else.
рассказчик.
The cargo
У
lift, yes.
рассказчика есть
Good.
голос,
said
а
the
не
bucket.
Боба.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Не говори больше.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking
Так,
to him.
разгоняем.
It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley
Не
chose
повторять
not to
реальную
think
жизнь.
about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Ах ты тварь. И каким образом ее получить? Так. Сейчас вспомню, где это была херня. Так, ну сугубо теоретически я понял. Так. Так, я понял, там была красная, синяя
All of
дверь.
his co-workers were
Сейчас
gone.
будем туда
What
идти.
could it mean?
Без ведра.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Идем за Михаила Оскара. Ну вот это
When
вот этот
Stanley came to
вот
a set
замок
of
с
two
картой
open
меня
doors, this was not the
напрягает.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Тыгадыка, тыгадык.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Так.
Stanley was so bad at following
личность.
directions,
Я
it's
делаю,
incredible
что
he
хочу.
wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot
Надо
here.
тудой.
I'm not your enemy, really.
Тудой
I'm
нам не
not.
надо.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me
Опа.
prove that I'm on your
Вот
side.
она.
Give me a chance.
You're getting close now, Stanley.
Прелесть.
You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll
Осталась
collect
только
the last
последняя,
one. And then
и-
the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler
Так,
and
по-моему,
Marines.
там еще
None of us
был
can.
в офисе Михаил Оскар, так что перезапускаем игру второй раз. Продолжаем сыграть. Я просто не помню, какая за них награда. Ебать, где?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Чего?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Так, ну
Not
ведрышко можно
everyone is
взять.
so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Угу. Так, последняя, она,
Coming to
по-моему,
a staircase,
тут.
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs
Это
to
очень
the
не помню.
boss's office.
Но завтра буду выебываться, то, что собрал все фигурки. Так, нам нужно 2, 8, 4, 5,
Stepping into
камин
his manager's
откроется, мы туда
office,
заходим,
Stanley was
радуемся
once again
жизни.
stunned to
Счастье,
discover not
здоровья
an
близким.
indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes,
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Так, не понял. Так, ладно, идем дальше. Я уверен, что она тут. Я помню, проходил это все 100 000 раз. Ладно. Криповенькое место.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown
Не,
fate.
по-моему, неправильно все сделал. Я
It would be
добил.
all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him,
Или сделать
comforting
всё
him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
Нет, я все сделал неправильно. Блять. Там было 2 двери. Нужно было войти в другую. Ладно,
Just a
ну зато
step through
можно
this
теперь
door,
взять
Stanley thought to
другую.
himself.
Последний
That's all I
микроволновка
need.
осталась.
If I can make it through this door,
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded on.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Сейчас найдем все фигурки и получим какую-то хуйню. Да.
Coming to a
Я вот
staircase,
чувствую это, ну,
Stanley and the bucket walked
как его?
upstairs to the boss's office.
Чувствуется, ну вот, ну, привкус вот этого вот, ну, привкус, ну, говна. То есть, ну, привкус Ubisoft. Они тоже любят делать гринделки, чтобы потом получить хуйню. Привкус Ubisoft.
Stepping
ни с
into
чем
his
не
manager's
перепутать.
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Так. Я понять не могу, где она. А может... Да. Я не понимаю. Не, я не понимаю, где. Бля. Там нету. Не понимаю. Я точно ее там находил. Блять. Угу. Так. Каким образом я до этого находил? Каким, блять, образом? Блять, я вспомнил. Все ясно. Хуячим.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Все, я понял. Где оно? Ну, вообще не в кабинете. Ну ладно.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Так,
Was
все,
this
идем сюда,
man?
и там уже
Never
будет
mind.
Михаил Оскар
The
последний.
bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Да, там есть
No.
пандус.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
Опа.
Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Вот он.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Ага.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend.
Пиздец.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Привкус Ubisoft усилился. Ты сделал охереть тяжелое задание, которое я делал на протяжении 3 дней. Молодец. Ты получишь целое нихуя. Опа. Нет, сиквел все еще продолжает существовать.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figures. I
всё-таки
haven't
есть
stopped
альтернативная
thinking about them
концовка.
since you nabbed
Извиняюсь.
every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're
Не,
supposed to be
нихуя.
telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would
Да
love
нет,
nothing
никакой
more
ладно,
than to
пошли.
revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Так. Что-то определенно изменилось.
Here's where it all began.
Да,
The
было
first
дело.
collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Ну и хуй с тобой. Ладно.
And here was a second Stanlerine. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. but you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
В босс-офисе я его вообще не находил ни разу. Что я там нет?
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Красивое окно. Ой, блядь. А, дверь.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a figly in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone. So
Потому
it
что
must
ее
have
не
happened.
было. Рассказчик, заканчивай с грибами.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was by the red and blue doors. I remember it so clearly.
Они что-то выцепили.
In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy. Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that
Да,
video,
это
but it
Стенли
was
Парабала
8 minutes
1.
I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Угу. Крепота. О, коробочки.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the
Похоже на
last
то.
collectible, the final figurine, right here in the warehouse. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment
Я
unlike
в этот
any
момент
other.
удивился, помню.
Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Погоди. А я могу спрыгнуть вниз? Я просто сомневаюсь, что... Ага. Нет, я туда не могу спрыгнуть. А, серьезно, я не могу туда спрыгнуть? Не, ну думаю, да, конечно, рассказчик. Прыгательный круг?
And then
Пожалуйста.
there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but
Yeah.
move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
А, все? А, в смысле?
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Окей.
Okay, yes, this spot in the warehouse. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more.
Прикольная концовка, что я скажу.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the
Так, я
video
это
we
бесконечно
watched?
делать не буду, рассказчик. Я.
Yes, I love that video.
Ну, видео по меркам 2028 года говно.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley.
Yeah.
Still no memory of this one.
Не
Good
могу,
room,
блин,
though.
не
A
могу
solid room.
подняться, блин. Блин. О, нет. Я не хочу туда, блядь. Этой розовой комнаты не было. Ты ее выдумал под грибами. Ну не было ее, и всё.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very
Ubisoft
glad we
так же
resisted the
думают.
temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Так, это звук меня напрягает.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Да, была выставка, и тут было ведро. Сейчас вспомню, где было ведрышко. А, его тут нет. Ну ладно.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were
Oh.
originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. The Prime does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Oh, yes. The two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Ну да, такая же классика, как и два стула. О, моя хата.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Обожаю. Все, ты меня сегодня
Is there anything
выберешь.
else? Was there
Блин,
something that
блин.
came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can
Опа.
remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Опа.
Stanley's bucket, the only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Коллекционер. А, да, вспомнил. Мы же можем наебать систему.
Stepping...
Легко. Ладно. Открой, ладно. Раз уж я начал этот сценарий, я по нему закончу. Что могу сказать? Перекрасили кладовку. Молодцы, что я могу сказать? Молодцы. Опа. Дырдочки. Да. Что ж. Отлично. Замечательно. Погоди. Понятно. Да. Мне рассказчик сказал то, что типа еще один раз посмотрю на офис. Интересно, что сейчас будет. Очень. Хотя, в принципе, можно рестартнуть игру и получить еще наклеек на ведро. ни хера не поменяется. Ну, я пойду в кладовку еще раз.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Так, важный вопрос. Рестартнуть надо. Я хочу ведро.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
Ой-ой-ой, серьезно.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps it's Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Да ну не. Бля.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Так, перезагружу еще раз. Так, какую бы концовку сделать? По-моему, я большинство уже сделал. Ну, можно самую тяжелую сделать, самую долгую.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me.
По факту.
In here I can be happy
Ну эти ваши
forever.
улицы нахуй.
I will be happy. Stanley waited.
Согласен.
Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.